that I'm always talking about is the Cecil Milton and Boris Alexander Gooch Park is situated at 1974 Hunter Avenue. Now the reason I say that is this is where everyone met. There was the Hollywood Hyde Park Civic League. And these are the people who had influence in our area. One was James Swearingen, who became Judge Swearingen, but before that he was the coordinator for African American activities with the Memphis Park Commission, because parks were segregated up until 1964. People couldn't go to Overton Park. And that's why they have that Free Tuesday, which they designated one day a week where African American or people of color, brown and black, could attend the zoo or over in the park. So Mr. Cecil Milton Gooch and his wife Boris Alexander Gooch, who were big influencers, they were the big employers. There were so many jobs, people just pretty much walked to work. This area was flourishing. So they could purchase the park for $200,000 in 1957 and dedicated to the city of Memphis with one stipulation, that it remain a park for African Americans, even if integration were to come. This man was really futuristic. It shall remain a park for African Americans, or what he said in his memo, Negroes. You know, it's almost like changing our persona, where somebody used to laugh and say, oh, no business are gonna move over there. You guys don't have anything. You just have poverty, you have crime, you have this. But they didn't know we had each other. And so we said, oh, well, we can change that. That's something which is in our power to do. As much prayer as we've had in those parks, as much prayer we have for one another. And many times after school program used to be go down to Miss Johnson's house because I'm going to be late going home, and Mrs. Johnson will make you a sandwich. And you could go to Miss Johnson's house, knock on the door. Mama said she's going to be late, and she's like, come on here, you can sit and eat at the table. It was just like, I don't know if to say that's a wonderland, but it's something that, we're now the mama dears. And so we're doing it. But we love doing it. And we are helping each other. But we don't feel, downtrodden. We know our neighbors. And so I'm trying to actually encourage everyone to join with Center for Transforming Communities, because these are people who actually care about what we think, what we want to see, and they want to join with us to do that and bring resources in order for that to happen. Pass the story on.
When Keratos opened in 2006, through Only John, the founder, and many other people, where it is, right? It kind of brought people to the neighborhood that probably would never have come here. And to have, I've been a part of many discussions at Keratos on racism, white privilege, and the community, cafe that they had. To me, it brought people from different backgrounds, social background, political, whatever it is, right, together to have some conversation. And I think that's critical. We need to have some critical conversation about what's going on. And and the reason why I say that, because I remember a white lady named Cindy McMillan. She was doing storytelling, and she did an interview with a lot of people at Keratos too. It was really about connection, listen to each other's story, because there's a connection when you listen to each other's story and stuff like that. I saw it not too long ago, and I thought about that, And so being there at Keratos was a way to meet a lot of people, and that was a good thing across all these divides, so to speak, whatever it is, right? And of course, have a good meal. And so what I remember the most is a lot of people don't know this, but across the street from Keratos, there were there was a homicide. There were three, I think it were two Latinos, the Lopez brothers. They were killed in probably, 2005, something like that. And I remember Oni and a lot of the other people, Reverend Billy Bond, and they organized a kind of a march down the street on Merton. And the mother from Mexico City, I think she came. And to look at her eyes, You know, I mean, just, you know, I mean, the whole idea of coming together when you have death to kind of bring some healing, so to speak, or whatever it is, was very powerful, because she lost 2 sons. And one, he survived. He was shot multiple times, but he survived. And never knew the, you know, what came to place. But that was the community coming together over a tragedy. And I won't forget that, you know, I mean, ever. Pass the story on.
Last 3 years, there has been a battle over this piece of property. It used to hold the old Prospect Elementary School. The school system closed the school decades ago. They used it as southern, an office space pretty much for their southern area. They closed the school. It's been sitting there. You know, the community has always been actively engaged in what they wanted that property to look like. So when they actually tore the school down about 2016, the community was, you know, they were in the meetings. They were then telling the school system what they wanted. You know, we need this to stay residential, because it was zoned residential because the school was there. So that means you have houses on all sides of it. And so a developer bought the property in 2018. And we saw where the community requested certain things and certain things were added to the contract. But at the last minute, in order to sell the property off real quick, the school system quickly removed a lot of those things that were in there that was promised to the community, like leaving the area residential. So they took that out, backdoor deal, sold it off real quick to this developer. The developer pretended like he was listening to what the community wanted, but then at the end he just decided, well, I want to build a gas station right there. You know, but of course there's a problem because of the zoning. You know, you can't put gas stations right up on people's houses like that. There's a reason why things are zoned commercial. There's a reason why things are zoned residential. So the community said no to this. They rallied, they got signatures, they talked to their communities. And this is the community of Prospect, which is right next to my community. They're basically, the only thing that separates us is Elvis Presley Boulevard. That's the only thing that separates us. So we grew up with these people, went to school with them, and so we consider them family. So the measure was defeated in 2018. We had to go before the Land Use Control Board. The Land Use Control Board said they're not going to change it to, they're not going to change the zoning because it's too dangerous. Health-wise, all these other things, it's too dangerous. So it was defeated. The vote was 10-0. No one on the Land Use Control Board voted in favor of this in 2018. We fast forward to the beginning part of this year. All of a sudden, we started seeing signs, you know, showing up on this property saying future home of this church. Okay, so the first thing you think when you see a future home of a church, you don't get too concerned. Okay, well, let's put a church there. That's better than a gas station. The lady that led the initial fight and had still been watching the issue, she went back to the Land Use Control Board, pulled the new plans. Lo and behold, it's the same exact plan as the 2018 plan. There was not going to be a church. What they did was they made an agreement with this pastor that they will only build the church if the gas station gets built. And so the pastor allowed them to use the name of the church to kind of like calm the concerns of the residents, thinking that we were not going to go back and actually pull the new plan. And actually in the new plan, it states clearly that the only way that the church gets built is if the zoning is approved for the gas station. Church owned no part of the property. I think the pastor paid $1,000 in earnest money, but he didn't own any part of the property. And so we fought it again. We rallied even more people into the fight this time. It was defeated again about 2 months ago in October. 5-5 this time, a 5-5 vote. Now you notice how the vote all of a sudden is split. It was supposed to go before the city council. But what ended up happening is after it was defeated by the Land Use Control Board, we started seeing people showing up in the neighborhood, going door to door, and they were presenting people with a fake petition saying that they would support the gas station. But if you read the petition, it downplayed the gas station. It downplayed everything else, and it upplayed the church. And so what they were saying was, it's not really necessarily going to be a gas station, it's going to be a convenience store that sells fresh fruit. But it's going to be a church first, and then somewhere along the line they decided to say it was going to be a clinic there also. Now, mind you, we still have this plan that has, designs and all this kind of stuff on it. Nothing about nothing about a church, nothing about a clinic, but somehow magically all of this stuff is appearing on these forums that they're trying to get people to sign out. The thing that was so awesome and that came out of this was we had talked to the community so much, and my friend Cassandra had informed the community so much that people were not even opening the door for these people. And as a matter of fact, every time they saw people showing up with these petitions, they would get on their phones and start calling Cassandra. They would call me. They would call different people that were in this fight. So the whole example of seeing the community come together is awesome, because right there you had a communication system. Pass the story on. Woo woo.